We are live. We are live. I'm going to pull up my Facebook over here to make sure we are live over here. But we are live. It would help if I get in the right space. Okay, we are live. Just waiting on I see two people who have popped in. When you pop in, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you're joining us from. I'm just trying to get my you see me looking this way, it's because I got another screen over here. We live. Okay, let me make sure my LinkedIn page is up. I see Golden. Hey, Golden. Yeah, so when you guys come in, share. We're talking reentry and relationships. Yeah, we're talking reentry and relationships today. Let me just get make sure my LinkedIn is up. Great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody told me one time, they said, when you come on, you don't introduce long enough. Give us a chance to get in. So I'm going to give these people a few chances, a few more minutes to get in. I'm going to plug in my headset because I think I got an echo. And this is the wrong one. Hey. So welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the first live of the year. And I am so super excited about this live. I am super excited about my guest, Mr. Marlon Anthony Branch. I don't know why I'm talking about Brown, but I'm so excited, guys. You know, in September of last year, I decided to take a break. It was like my body was tired, my mind was tired, my spirit was malnourished. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a break. I have to take a break because I had not taken a break since I started Wife After Prison in 2018. So I decided to take a break because I was pouring into so many people and I felt my cup was being depleted. So I had to step back. But we are back doing our lives. We're going to have our monthly lives. Real soon, we're going to start up the support group for the women. But uh, I'm excited about being back. I am. I've been doing some things behind the scene that you guys will hear about soon. But this live here with Marlon is especially special to me, and it's important to me. Number one, because it's dealing with you relationships, Marlon, and relationships. But we're gonna get into that. I just want to give a few more people a chance to get in. And again, when you sign in, just let me know what you're signing in from. I have an announcement to make. So I just want to give people a few more minutes to get in. I'm one like that. I really like to start on time. But since I got the message about you don't give us time enough to get in, I said, okay, so I'll wait a few more minutes in. But we're going to get started. I know the conversation today is going to be informative. So I want you guys to come in, share it out. A lot of times, the reentry programs to me, they do not focus on reentry and relationships. They talk a lot about getting a job, but we're gonna get into all of that anyway. But anyway, so I'm gonna get started. So whoever is not here, they can catch the replay. And let me tell y'all something. I have been preparing for this live. I had my notes, I had everything ready, the questions and everything, and I lost it all. I looked for my notes today and I was like, what are my notes? But, we're going to just chop it up a little bit. Just a little about Marlon and how I met Marlon. I met Marlon in, Marlon, was it 2020 or
2020, 2020. No, 2019.
2019? So I met
2019.
Okay, so I met Marlon in 2019 in the caravans unit, where I would go in and facilitate classes, worksheets, workshops, and I met Marlon there. And I'm gonna tell you something. I just took a liking to him. When I go into the unit, there's a little sign-in desk that you had to sign in, and Marlon was always there to get my bags for me. So I took a liking to Marlon, very respectful, never disrespected Miss Bruno in the least manner. He was always there to serve me. But I will say this: we're going to be talking about reentry and relationships, but we're going to be talking about some other things too. I remember one day Marlon came up to me. Marlon came up to me after class and so genuine and so childlike. He said, Miss Bruno, he said, prison all I know. And he said, I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared. He said, I heard you talk about responsibilities and I've never had responsibility. And I said, Marlon, you come out of that back gate and Miss Bruno got you. All I need you to come out the gate. You remember that conversation?
I
Yeah,
remember it well.
yeah. All I need you to do is come out of that back gate and I got you. And one of the reasons why I took such a liking to him because he was hungry. He was hungry and still is hungry today to do the right thing. So Marlon and I used to have coaching sessions once a week, just like this via Zoom. And he's there and he has his workbook. And the first thing that we talked about was goals. What's your goals? Write your top 10 goals. And I saw him do the work. I saw him knocking down those goals. I mean, he was very intentional about that, just determined that he was going to succeed on the outside. And he was doing very well and continued to do well today. But the reason why I wanted to do this live and to bring Marlon on, and like I said, we're gonna bounce back and forth different topics because I don't have my notes, so we're gonna do that. But another thing that he enlightened me on was, and y'all know I can't have a live without talking about mental health. That just will never happen. But one day, and I may get a little emotional because I'm so passionate about this, and I'm so passionate about it. But one day I asked Marlon, I said, "Tell me about your mental health diagnosis when you went to prison. You went to prison at 15," and he said, "I didn't have one." I said, "You went to prison at 15." And you did not have a mental health diagnosis? You had no screening or anything? He said, "No, ma'am." I'm like, okay. So you went from unit to unit. You just stay at the same unit. You went to unit for unit. So tell me about the intake and the outtake and all that. You had mental health assessments, right? And he said, "No, ma'am, Miss Brown, I ain't had that." And I was like, wait a minute. So you went to pre-release and you had that? And so I guess he got tired of me answering him, asking these questions. He's like, "Miss Bruno," he said, "when I hear the word mental health, I think it means that I'm crazy." And I was like, wow. I said, "It does not mean that you're crazy." So, how many more of our loved ones that are on the inside, they will not seek treatment because their concept is that mental health means you crazy. And I found out when I started debunking what mental health is and what mental health isn't, the difference between mental health and mental illness, these guys are open for the conversation. They're open for the conversation. So we as reentry organizations, prison ministries, or whatever, we have to start talking about mental health. We have to start talking about mental health with these guys. So, okay. So Marlon Branch, how you doing today?
I'm fine, Miss Bruno. How are you?
I'm good. Y'all, Marlon, my dude. He is so my dude. So Marlon, 15. You went to prison at 15. And I was thinking about this earlier. And I've never asked you this question. And if you don't want to answer, you say Bruno pass. Right? I I knew you had a life sentence. Did you have a life sentence?
Yes.
You had a life sentence. Do you recall the feeling that you had when when the judge sentenced you to life, when they said life? Do you remember at 15? Do
At
you remember?
at 15, Ms. Bruno, it's strange that you would ask that question because I still recall the headlines in the Houston Post the following day after I received my life sentence. They
Yeah?
said I was non-emotional. The
Really?
headline read, non-emotional 15-year-old receives life sentence.
But when you got that sentence and you heard them say 15, what did you say? I mean, when you heard them say life in prison without the possibility of parole, I'm sure.
At the time, I didn't grasp the meaning of it. At 15, you're not truly understanding the magnitude of a life sentence.
Wow. Wow. So take us back a little bit, Marlon. Take us back to your childhood. What type of childhood did you have?
Ms. Bruno, I grew up below the poverty level. I used an outhouse until I was 13 years old. I bathed in a steel tub until I was 13 years old. Once my great grandmother passed away, my life spiraled out of control. You know, all my life I wanted love from my mother, and that I never got. And that really, I want to say, spurred me to do the things that I did in life. To try to gain attention, try to get her to understand I wanted her love, but it never materialized.
Yeah.
And
So it was
but
your great grandmother. I thought it was your grandmother. It was your
no,
great
it was my great grandmother that raised me. Yes,
your great grandmother raised
yes, yes.
you. And Marlon, you guys was living in what part of Texas?
Barrow Station.
And y'all, you was
That
still,
would be the black suburb of Crosby, Texas.
and Marlon, you was still using a
An outhouse, yes,
at 13.
at 13.
Okay.
That's the only life I knew. But again, that probably was the happiest time of my life.
Yeah. So and when you went through the court proceedings, was anybody there with you, family members, anybody? Was there
My
anybody?
mom, my mom was there for sure.
Yeah. Oh, your mom was there?
Yeah, for sure. But outside of that, no,
Nobody else?
nobody else.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I remember one of the questions that I had. You got that sentence. How long were you in jail before you got the sentence?
Uh, I got arrested January 21st, 1981. I was in prison June 30th, 1981.
So it was a speedy trial.
Yes. You must understand that I had to go through juvenile process. Also, I went from juvenile process. I went from January 21st in juvenile until April 6th of 1981. So from April to June in the adult system.
So you went to the at 15, you went to adult prison. Or you went to
I went to an adult prison at 15. I saw my 16th birthday at the diagnostic unit.
wow. So tell me this, because this is one of the things. Tell me about that bus ride to prison.
Oh, wow.
Well,
It's
let me tell you something. Hey, before you tell me that, let me tell you something. I don't want to trigger nothing. Okay.
no, it's not a trigger. It's just that it was one of the most. It would be like putting sardines in a can because now it's different, you
Yeah.
know. And I can recall how we were sitting on steel benches back to back, like 100 plus people on this bus, you know, chain with a man with a shotgun walking up and down the aisle. You
Wow.
know,
Wow.
it has changed now, but like I said,
Yeah.
but then it was inhumane.
So when you got into prison, did they have like a separate unit for the teens, or you just went right into the general population with everybody?
Straight into the general population.
Wow. Were you afraid?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, I was afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hear a lot of people who say that they have been to prison, went to prison. They said when they got to prison, they had to change like this.
Exactly. You're entering the concrete jungle,
Yeah.
and if you can't transform, then you're gonna be ate up.
Wow. So how did Marlon transform?
I had to become an animal in order to survive.
That is the story of so many. I had to become an animal in order to survive. Yeah. Yeah. So you did those 39 years, Marlon. You never expected to get out,
No, I
right?
didn't, Miss Bruno.
So how did that come about? You were doing the right
Um,
thing?
yes, I was doing the right thing. I was doing the right thing, but my attitude was the parole system is a failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
The parole system is a failure, and
So
the only
you were able to go. Oh, I done lost Marlon. He playing with that phone. Uh so you know, one of the things that I say to family members who um have loved ones who are incarcerated, you know, and the reason why I wanted to go back just a little bit about Marlon's childhood is because we don't consider the trauma. You can't take trauma off the table. You just can't take trauma off the table. I when Kevin and I uh got a divorce, separated, uh yes, I was angry. I was very, very angry at him because I felt like, you know, you had these issues, you married me, and now, you know, da 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 da. But as I continued to study trauma and adverse childhood experiences, I had to come and to realize that you can't be mad at that brother. You cannot be mad at him for not willing to face and deal with some of the traumatic experiences that he had. It's so easy for us to say, get over it. That was then, this is now. It's so easy for us to say that. Marlon, I'm echoing somewhere. Oh,
you're
but
echoing still.
I think I'm okay now.
Okay.
But it's so easy for us to say, get over it. But let me tell you guys something. You cannot take trauma off the table. You can't take it off the table. If your loved one had some type of pre incarceration trauma, Marlon talked a little about his pre incarceration trauma, then incarceration trauma, and we're going to get more into the incarceration trauma, then the post incarceration trauma. And that's where his reentry and relationship thing fell apart in the
Exactly.
post incarceration. So, Marlon, tell
Yes.
us, and I want you to educate the people. You were on a live with me, and you can get a little raw. I don't want you to get too raw.
I'm not. No. 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 No.
I want to educate the people, but I look just. But Marlon, so we talked about your pre-incarceration trauma, wanting your mother to love you, the poverty that you experienced growing up, never having and really wanting your mom to love you. And one time you said to me, you said, Miss Bruno, you said you are the mom I never had. You know, you like the mom that I never had. And Marlon and I are not too far apart in age, but I look at Marlon as a son. I really do look at Marlon as one of my sons. So Marlon, tell us about incarceration trauma. What is that like?
Miss Bruno, a lot of us. really deny the fact that we suffer from incarceration trauma, because a lot of us will not admit the fact that we're broken.
Mm,
A lot of men will not admit the fact that they're broken.
yeah.
And it's a shame because that brokenness leads us to do things in life later on that we may regret, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's there. The trauma is there, you know. We try and suppress it, you know, to keep it down and keep putting stuff on top of it, on top to hold
Right.
it back, but it's
Right.
there.
Is
And
there?
eventually it's gonna erupt,
Yeah. Because
you
it's
know.
never dealt with.
It's
So,
never dealt with.
and this is the thing. I'm telling you, man, families and a lot of families, you have to understand what you're dealing with. And some get in relationships. I mean, their loved ones are home. Their loved ones are acting out, and they don't understand, like, why he told me when he get out he was gonna do this, that, and other, and he ain't doing nothing, and it's like I got enough child and all of that. Okay, okay, you have not considered the trauma, right? Marlon, you told me about, I think it may have been you told me about the raping and hearing people scream. Was that you or somebody else?
There had to be somebody else, but it happens in there. The raping and yes, that is, well, not as much today as it was back then,
Right.
because there's a safe prison acts in place now. But back when I went, it was commonplace.
Yeah, a lot of trauma, a lot of stealing. I mean, a lot of killing and
A lot of
stabbing and
killing, a
stuff.
lot of stabbing. Yes, violence was any given second. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
again, violence was a way of life in there. And if
What
you didn't
about,
become that, excuse
yeah?
me,
So what about awareness? You always had to be aware of your
you always
surroundings.
had to be aware of your
Yeah,
surroundings.
yeah.
You know, even today, this is crazy that you say these things. I don't like anyone but standing behind me. I could be in Walmart's and someone walking behind me, and that quick turn is there. You know, it's there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you're invading my space. You're a little too close.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but hey, that's from years and years of being aware of my surroundings.
yeah, yeah. So, Marlon, thank you, thank you, thank you. So we talked a little about the pre-incarceration trauma and the incarceration trauma. Now we're gonna talk about this post-incarceration trauma, this re-entry and relationship. So, as I said, Marlon got out in 2020. And I remember, I'll never forget March the 18th of 2020. Number one, March the 18th is my mom's birthday, who had passed in 2017. And normally during her birth, when her birthday comes, I'm feeling some kind of way, right? But that year, I was so excited because after 39 years, Marlon was being released. And I remember the day that he was released, and he was released to a transitional home. And like I said, we got to work immediately. We look, you out,
Exactly.
you got a phone, we're going to learn how to get on Zoom. And every week we did the work. I saw him do the work. It's not like, when it was time for us to have our sessions, it wasn't like he was making excuses. He like, Miss Bruno, we're gonna have a session today. Miss Bruno, we're gonna have a session today. So he was hungry to know. And so he got a job as the manager at a resale shop. And Marlon, we won't mention the person's name. We just call it that lady.
Right.
Okay. We just
Okay.
call her that lady.
Okay.
And so Marlon had gotten into a relationship with someone. Uh, and one of the things he told me, this was, uh, the relationship was rocky, just like a roller coaster. And I would
Right.
talk to him about that. And he said, Miss Bruna, I just want somebody to love me. He just said, I want somebody to love me. Now let me ask you this. So when you found out when you found out you was being released, did you think about, oh, I'm gonna get me a woman?
No, that was that not no, Miss Bruno. My first thing was to get out and do what's right, become human again. That's what we discussed, and that's the road I was on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, try to give back to society.
Right,
You know,
right. So Marlon, you got the job. You got the job over at the resale place. Is that where you met the lady?
yes, that's where I met her at.
He been okay. So
Yes.
Marlon, take us to that reentry relationship with the lady.
Okay, I met her while I was at that that job there, and she gave me this sad story about how Harvey had took everything from her, and so we got to know each other. But all during this time that we're knowing each other, I'm steady building my foundation, and I ended up getting a car, if you can remember.
Yeah,
I got me a Mercedes, and
got him a Mercedes, y'all. He
and
popped out there and got him a Mercedes.
and I had to move on from the transitional house,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got my own apartment.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up furnishing my apartment because I also moved on from that job as the
Right,
manager at a retail
right.
store because I realized I was being exploited. You know,
Oh
and that's
boy,
something
yeah.
else. And that's something else we're going to touch on before this meeting is over. The
Okay.
exploitation in the job market, and so I allow myself to start seeing this woman more often, and the red flags were there.
You
But
kept paying. You
right,
kept paying the wife.
right,
Yeah.
and but being on a monitor, in not being able to go anywhere but work and home, work and home, work and home, loneliness set in, and she was there filling that void. But unbeknownst to me at the time, if she wasn't filling the void, she was setting me up.
And one of the things is, and I'm telling you, Gary, I was so super proud of Marlon, y'all. He got out, he got him a little nice two-seater Mercedes, and he got him had a nice apartment, furnished very, very nice. I was super, super proud of Marlon. But when he got that apartment, I told him, I said, Marlon, look here. Don't let nobody come over here and leave what, Marlon?
No, 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 no woman clothing in your
Don't
apartment.
leave no panties and no bras at your place. Because when they do that, they didn't moved in. So anyway, tell us about the lady.
So the first major red sign was when she began to use foul language around me, like the B word and the H word. And, I'm like, hey, please don't do that.
Who's calling you that?
Yes, and I'm like, please don't call me that.
Yeah.
So that kind of slowed down a little bit. Then I started noticing things missing out of my apartment, like my watches. So when I confronted her, she like, no, I didn't do it. So we ended up splitting up. I let her convince me that her brother had did it, and she was ashamed to tell me that her brother had stole my watches. And again, I'm on a monitor. I can't go nowhere. I really can't keep tabs on her to find out what her lifestyle is outside the apartment. You know, so this relationship went on from what we're gonna say from October until
May.
May, Mother's Day.
So hold on. Because while we talking, my system impacted brothers out there, I want you to hear this. Because I got on Marlon. Marlon got his car. Marlon, don't let this woman be driving your car. Now he did pretty much maybe about 95% of everything that I would advice that I would get him. Then I found out she dropping him off at work and she keeping the Mercedes.
Yes,
Yeah. But the
Yes,
thing, but the thing is, and I understand, you just wanted somebody to love you.
exactly.
Was
And
she
she
telling you she love you?
since she told me she loved me, I call it pillow talk. Now that I look back on it, I call it that sweet pillow talk. I love you. I want to start a family with you. Anything that a man coming out of prison would want to hear. You know, I'm old school, and I saw my great great grandfather and my great grandfather provide for their household, and so going to work every day, provide for the household, it was nothing for me. And thinking about the things that you would tell me about being responsible, you know. So I think it is a man's responsibility to be responsible for his household. You know.
Did she, did she move in?
Yes, she moved in. Yes, she moved in.
Okay. So the red flags was there, and I could always tell when something was wrong because I would talk to him and he just didn't seem, he wasn't himself.
Right,
You
right.
know, yeah, he wasn't himself. She was taking him, I would say, she took advantage of him, number one. She took it. I think she took. Now, had she ever been in a relationship with somebody that had been locked up before that you know of?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, I she told me about relationships, about how guys were abusive to her and things of that nature. And I'm like, wow, how can someone be abusive to a beautiful woman like you? Because you know, don't get me wrong, she wasn't bad looking. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, how can someone treat you bad?
Yeah. And one thing I can say about Marlon, I mean, Marlon is going to be that faithful guy. He wasn't going to be trying to look at nobody else. He really desired for her to be the one so that he could really provide for her. He he
Exactly.
he wanted to be the provider uh for the family and all of that, but um
It even
okay,
went to the point where I allowed her son to move in with us.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, we stopped them sessions too. We stopped them sessions too early.
We did.
Yeah,
We
yeah, we
did.
stopped them sessions too early. So take us to that day, and then we're gonna come to the questions, and we're gonna answer some of these questions over here. But Marlon, I can't remember. I think I may have been out of town. Mother's Day,
Mother's Day, May 9th,
May 9th, Mother's Day. I get a
2021.
call. 21.
2021.
And you had only been out how long?
A year and 2 months.
Year and 2 months. So I think I was out of town or something. And I get that call. Gato called me. And
Yes.
I called him back and I said, "How you doing?" He said, "I'm doing fine." And he said, "Marlon ain't doing too good." I said, "What you mean Marlon ain't doing too?" He said, "Miss Bruno, Marlon in jail." No, no. So anyway, Marlon, take us to May 9th.
May
That
9th. Let's go back to May 8th.
okay.
I come in from work on May 8th, and I walk into the apartment. I see her son and his girlfriend on my couch. So I go on into the bedroom, take my shower, get in bed, and I get up to go get a bottle of water out of the kitchen. And when I walk in the living room, there they are having sex on my couch.
I didn't know that part.
Yes. So I just eased back in the room. Like I didn't see nothing. So when she woke up, I told her, "Hey, I don't need your son doing things in my apartment that I don't do in my own apartment. I do not have sex on my furniture. I have a bed for that." Okay, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. Fine. Fast forward. Sunday morning, I come in from work. No one's in the apartment. This is Mother's Day, mind you. And so I'm like, okay. So I take me a nap, get up to go to Trader Village to meet Jose and Lisa. Here she come. Hey, where you finna go? I said, I'm finna go to Trader Village. I want to go. I said, okay, get dressed, let's go. You know, so on our way to Trader Village, the subject about her son come up. And I'm like, he's 20 years old, you know, he's been have a job because I got him a job working where I work at. And so don't you think it's time about time he gets his own apartment? She's like, yeah, he can do that. I said, well, him and his girlfriend can you know, I could probably get her a job and they can move in. No, she can't. She ain't but 16. I said, you mean tell me you got your 20-year-old son get with a 16-year-old girl in my apartment? I said, you know my situation, you know. I said, I'm gonna have to report this man because if that come, I can't. So you just have no regard for me. So now it's turned into a full-blown argument. We're at Traders Village.
Mm-hmm.
So she tell Lisa, he tripping. Woo. So I'm like, man, look, just because I'm gonna tell my parole officer what you did does not make me tripping. I got to cover myself, you know. So she threw a drink in my face and trying to hit me, and I grabbed her and tried to restrain her, and we fell to the ground. It was broken up. The cops she jumped up, threw her hands up like she wanted, swung at me a couple more times. I got out the way of the punches, and when the cops got there, you know, she like, I want to file charges. He's on parole, and that was a wrap.
Wow. Wow.
Even with witnesses at the point saying
Right.
she started it. She started all
She
this.
was the aggressor.
She was the aggressor.
Yeah. She was the aggressor.
He's on parole. I want to file charges. The the police officer wasn't trying to hear anything after that. I was placed in handcuffs and 19 months of my life was thrown away.
So you were placed in handcuffs, they took you to Harris County.
Yes.
And then the next day or so, we found out what the charge was.
Right.
Battery.
Assault family member, impeding breathing.
Impeding, like he had choked her. Now
Right.
look, y'all. So witnesses was there, willing to testify that she was the aggressor, but because he had a background, they wasn't trying to hear nothing that he said. Now, this is what I tell the guys too when they get out and they tell me they got a girlfriend or whatever. I'm like, man, that's the last thing you need, right?
And you told me that.
Yeah. My thing is this, you know, before you talk about falling in love with somebody, fall inside love with yourself, because if you do that, then you wouldn't even tolerate that behavior. You wouldn't even tolerate none of that. And but again, I've said it to Marlon, it is your responsibility to remember that you on parole. So you got to watch your circle. You got to watch the company that you keep. A guy contacted me a couple of weeks ago. Man, let me tell you something. And he said he overheard the lady said, he overheard the lady say, I'm going to provoke him. I'm going to send him back to prison. So to my brothers who are out there, be careful with these ladies, because some of them do not have your best interests at heart. And then I got it when I post about me and Marlon having this live. I got a text or something about you know, men come out and they playing with these women head. Da, da. I know this one right here. I know that one right there. All he wanted after 39 years being in prison was somebody to love him. And unfortunately, the one that he wanted to love him, she was full of trauma herself, trauma and drama. So, Marlon,
Yes.
3 months back in jail, we talked on the phone.
Right.
And one day you said to me, Miss Bruno, you said, when I get out of here, I got to go get me some help. And
Exactly.
you said, um, you said being in jail and being in prison is different. You said I can do prison all day long, but this jail, uh, this jail is really messing with my head. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna hold you to that. You know that,
Right.
right?
Right.
So let's see some questions here. Someone says, how can a 15-year-old wrap his head around a life sentence?
Well, to be totally honest, at 15, you're not really understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's really a plus for you at that age compared to going at
Wait a minute.
25, say, because
Rewind. How is that a plus for you?
because at 15 you really haven't experienced life yet. So you're really not missing out on a lot compared to going at 25 with a family. Say you got a kid at 25 years old and you go to prison with a life sentence. You know, you're gonna have to worry about that kid and things that you're missing out on in life. At 15, you know, coming from nothing, all you had to do was survive in prison.
You say it like it ain't nothing.
Believe it or not, Miss Bruno, I look back on that time and I'm like, it probably was a blessing
Talk to me.
because I look back at some of the people that I knew when I was growing up. They either dead or cracked out.
Yeah.
A high majority of them. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
missed all that. You
So
know,
so, so let's go back to the every time when you were in jail, every time it was time to go to court or they reset it.
right?
Okay. They come at you with some time?
Uh, they didn't come at me with any time until. Let me get back on here real quick. They didn't. They didn't come at me with any time until.
There you go, yeah. But they knew he was they knew he was innocent, but they held him.
They didn't come at me with any time until the 18th month of my incarceration. They made an offer to drop it to a misdemeanor time served and let me go. I'm like, no, because I noticed something in jail during that period that a lot of young guys will admit to crime that they didn't commit just to get out of jail.
And go to prison?
No, to get out of jail. You know, they would take a deal. They would take probation. They would take time served. They would get a felony on their record for time they didn't for a crime they didn't commit in order to get out, and that was wrong. I made my mind up like I told you in the beginning. I'm not fixing to say I did something that I didn't do.
And they
But
were ready to go to
yeah,
trial
yeah, they were ready to go to trial
in January.
in January,
Yeah.
and out of nowhere, a dismissal
The day that you
was set for
they cleared you
pretrial.
it up. Yeah.
The day that I
Was
was set for pretrial, it got dismissed.
19 months.
19 months.
And they knew you were innocent from the start because they talked about a video, but the video showed nothing. And your
Nothing.
attorney never got the video.
Exactly.
Cold blooded. Cold blooded. So, what did you learn from that?
Miss Bruno, is so much I learned that I cannot put into words. I'm going to say this. I'm totally afraid now. I realize is it great women out there? Yes. But my question to myself is, do I want to take that chance trying to find that great woman compared to going through another 19 months of hell again? No, I don't. You know, so maybe it's not meant for me to find love in this life. Maybe it's just not. Because I'm not going to pursue it. You
Tell me
know,
this. So, tell me this. So, 40 years of your life, you've been incarcerated.
41 to be exact.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
You doing okay?
Yes.
So anybody, if there's any returning citizens out there who may be watching or will watch the replay, what would you say to them about reentry and relationships?
I would take. I would tell them to take the advice that you've given. Please learn to love you before you find yourself engaging in any relationship, because you got to love yourself. And I would also tell them to realize your brokenness, realize that you need to be mended before you become involved in a relationship. Also, always call on a higher power. Never lose your faith in God. Please, that's one of the main things. That's one of the things that kept me strong is my faith in God. I would tell myself many a night, He didn't bring me this far to take me back.
Yeah.
And that kept me strong, because like I say, it becomes a madhouse in those jails. It's a jungle. It is a jungle. And at times I found myself reverting to that old me. But then again, I had to tell myself, Marlon, you go back to that old you. There's no coming back. You know, I just want to be human. I just want to do what's right.
And this is why it was so important for me to have Marlon on this live, because when he went back to jail, when he went to jail, so many people turned their backs on him without knowing the truth, just because he had been to prison before. So many people turned their backs on him. And it was just a handful of us.
Just a handful, not even a handful. You, Kathy, Jose, and Lisa, and Johnny Rodriguez. That's you know,
So I want my brothers out there to understand, do not seek a relationship when you get out of prison. Seek to find yourself before you get into a relationship. Y'all, I mean, I cannot stress that enough. And I did a post this week about an invitation that I got. I didn't say too much about it, but it is official. I have the agreement. I have been invited to facilitate a workshop at the National Association of Reentry Professionals in Florida um, in April. And she said, she saw me on a live and she said, I got to have her because she's real. She's real, relevant, and raw. And the lady, the president, Ms. Rosetta Pace, she said, in my 40 years of working with corrections. And she said, I've never heard anybody talk on reentry and relationships. And she called me last week and she asked, uh, did I want to be the opening speaker before the main speaker? And I told her I prefer to do the workshop because I do some powerful workshops. And so I will be talking about reentry in relationships. And again, I post, you know, uh, send me your stories. Let me package your stories and take some of your stories with me. And I tell you, I got so many messages. I have yet to respond to them all. But this is the deal. I've gotten the stories where he's home and everything is going good and he's doing that, and I applaud that, y'all. But that's not the stories I'm taking with me. I'm not taking those stories with me. Those stories are to be told by somebody else, not me. I'm talking about those who come home and struggle, those who come home and struggle in their relationship, causing their trauma to attach themselves to their family members, and then the whole family is struggling. So I want those stories. Those are the stories that I'm taking with me. So if you have some of those type of stories, those are the stories that want to hear. I have some already, but you can never have enough. I'll be in the room with reentry professionals, those who have reentry programs, those who are starting up reentry programs. And so my message is to them: you cannot take reentry and relationships off the table. You must include this into your program if you want to have an effective.
You're almost done. Click open file in the
What
top
you doing
right.
over there, Marlon?
I don't know. The computer went off.
So let me see something. I'm gonna
And before you go, Miss Bruno,
go ahead, babe.
it's something else that we need to discuss about
Go ahead.
guys that's returning to society, and that's the
Okay.
job, and that's the job world. You will be exploited by temp services, by companies, just knowing that you are coming out of prison, you're going to be underpaid. But I want to tell you this: you got to start somewhere. You some check is better than no check, and I want you guys to remember that. You got to bring in some type of income. It may not be what you want, but eventually you get to that point. But you got to take baby steps. Don't try to jump out there head first, and then you find yourself right back in the game, as they say, because you can't make ends meet. Take those baby steps. They'll add up. Those checks will add up at the end of the month. You better pay your rent. Take from somebody that went through it. But you're going
Mm.
to be exploited. So be ready for it. Don't lose faith. Don't lose your attitude. Do it.
Wow.
And those guys that are on parole, I hear this so much. My parole officer this, my parole officer that. Let me share this with you. It's not your parole officer's attitude that you can control. It's your attitude.
Yeah.
With all your parole officer negativity, meet it with a positive attitude. Please. Because at the end of the day, that individual holds the key to your freedom.
Yeah. So guys are coming out. So how long? Look, I had I done had them tell me, "Miss Bruno, I'm gonna wait 5 years. I'm gonna wait 5 years before I get into a relationship." Man, they get on social media run them crazy. And look, I'm trying to tell y'all something. I'm trying to help these brothers out here. I mean, I've had guys who have gotten in relationships have called me or sent me a text October the 19th, 2021. I'll never forget receiving a text message saying, I want to go back. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Who is this talking about they want to go back? I did not have, I knew the person, but they had a new phone number. So I didn't know who it was. And it was late at night. So I was like, I can't call them right now. But what? I couldn't wait to get up that next morning to call them. And they said, I want to go back. Gotten into a relationship with somebody just to mess their head up. Another guy who came out of the same unit as Marlon did. Within a month of his release, he was calling me talking about, I can't do this, I can do this, and attempting suicide. Had gotten into a relationship. Man, let me tell you something. Relationships gonna come. First and foremost, you gotta have a relationship with yourself. Before you jump out here, you've been gone all this time. Things have changed. So don't be in such a hurry to get into a relationship. Don't be in such a hurry to get into a relationship. Find yourself first. I can't stress it enough. So I'm asking the listeners, the followers, when Miss Bruno go to Florida come April, I'm going, and it ain't gonna be pretty. I'm gonna tell what's happening with this reentry in relationships, right? So guys, don't. We got somebody joining us from London. Hey, Dr. Steve from London. Yeah. So don't be in such a hurry to get into reentry in relationships, because after doing 39 years, 19 more months. Marlon sit behind bars and he shouldn't have been. And let me tell you something. The system, they knew he was innocent. They knew he was innocent. Knew they had absolutely nothing on him. But because he had that past, and again, I say, my brothers, y'all be careful. Because there's some women out here, I've heard so many women say, I'll send him back. Now, if he hit you, that's a different story.
Yes, because no woman should be subject to abuse.
Yeah.
No woman should be subject to abuse.
Yeah.
But so, just because you seen with another female, that's not a reason to take a man's life from him. It's just not.
Move on.
Move on.
Yeah.
Don't destroy his life.
Yeah.
No one should send their worst enemy to that live in hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So Marlon, we're gonna set up an appointment.
Okay, we can do that.
Y'all see why I love him? He's very, very humble. He's very humble. Oh, but we didn't talk about what she did.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
Go ahead, give him a little bit of what she did.
She took,
when you was locked up.
While I was locked up, she took everything out of my apartment. Everything. When they went by my apartment to pick up my stuff, all they found was a trash bag with some trash on the floor. A fully furnished apartment. Everything. And then wrote checks to herself, signed my name to them, and depleted my bank account.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, she did. She took everything. Everything.
And it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow because, again, here I've done 41 years of my life and not let anyone take anything from me. Now I'm dependent on the legal system to rectify the matter. And all I'm doing is meeting a brick wall.
They're not going to do anything. And so I'm look, my brothers out here, like I told Marlon, don't let her leave her undies at your house. Don't let her leave her undies at your house. She doesn't need to be on your lease. She don't need to be on your lease. None of that. None of that. Let them prove themselves for that. You know? And I mean, I want to say I can understand wanting to be loved, but look what it costs you.
Right? It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
It cost you not 19 unnecessary months, but we're happy to see you coming back up. Tell them what you're doing now.
Oh yes, I'm coming back up. I'm working and just enjoying life right now. By myself, so to speak. I'm not looking for a relationship. Really, to be honest with you, I'm afraid of a relationship.
Yeah,
But
yeah. As you should be right now.
as I should be.
Yeah. Just focus on Marlon. Just
I'm
focus on
focusing on
Marlon.
Marlon and God. That's it.
That's it. That's it. Marlon and eventually gonna get his own place. Somebody wanted to know how long were you at the transitional house? You wasn't there that long.
6 months.
Yeah,
6 months.
6 months. So if anybody else have any questions for Marlon, someone says, let's see. I don't know your story. Can you share some of it? And so I'm taking she meant me. Briefly, I was married to someone who did 28 years in prison. And going into the third year of marriage, he began to change. The behavior, he changed. Um, I've said that instead of being treated like a soulmate, he began to treat me like a cellmate. But he was going through something. He was going through something. And again, it's not for me to say, get over it. Let me tell you something. I thank God for the understanding that I have now. Because I could have been mad at that brother. Now, eventually I was. Because I felt like my life was set up before I got married. Now I done married you and da 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 da. And now my life is, I have to rearrange and pivot some things. But I thank God for the understanding that I have. So I could not be mad at him. He had some traumatic experiences when he was young, and then going to prison, and then coming out. And this is the thing, we have to take that into consideration. Talking about coming out, being the head of the household, being responsible. He can't even be responsible for himself. And here it is, we want him to be responsible for the whole, I can't wait till he get out. I'm gonna take a break. Baby, please, the work is just beginning. I'm just saying. So that's my story. But the thing about it is, the beauty of it is now that Kevin and I get ready to do some work together. I ain't mad. He ain't mad. We understand how important this work is to talk about reentry in relationships, because nobody's talking about reentry in relationships. They talk about reentries and get them a job. Marlon had a job.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, Marlon had a job. So let's see here. That's it. Watch your circle. You have to watch your circle.
You got
Parole
it.
board. Let's see. Somebody said parole board comes to see my son this November to let him know when he comes home. I know he will need counseling and all the help we can get. Miss Bruno, I would definitely be reaching out to you. Please do. Please do. And my thing is this, guys. Let me tell you something. I surround my. How long was this relationship from start to finish? How long was it, Mark?
October something. 7 months.
But it was shoot, it was just going too fast. It was just going too fast for me. And I think that lady was I'm gonna say it kind of trying to find a nice way to say it. Um, I think she may have seen Marlon Lil Green and she took advantage of him because he was the nice guy. He wanted to provide for the family. What woman don't want to hear a man say, "You ain't got to work. I want to provide for the family." Okay. Let's see what else we got over here. Thank you for sharing your work. I have worked with foster children and right now assist with reentry folks finding work. Okay, Maria, look, while they finding work, make sure they go talk to somebody. Because I'm going to tell you guys, and that's my thing. The reentry programs want to put employment before anything else. And I'm gonna close with this. I mean, let me see. Hold on, y'all. Uh, I'm gonna share my reentry program with y'all. This program has been in my belly for about 2 years, and it is about to be birthed. The name of my reentry program is the 3 pillars of reentry: the head, the heart, and the hands. Mental health, empathy and self-care, and employment readiness. A lot of the reentry programs, they start here at the hands. No, you should start here. So I have developed a trainer program. It's over 15 modules, and this is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is only 9 of the modules. 4 of the modules deals with mental health, reentry and relationships, the psychological impact of incarceration. 6 of the modules deals with empathy and self-care, communication strategies, assertiveness, self-confidence, emotional intelligence, and then lastly, employment readiness. 4 of the modules deal with employment readiness. Each of these modules have over 10 lessons in them. This is your reentry program right here. This is a premium program that touches on everything. So if you have a reentry program or you desire to have a reentry program, I got everything that you need right here. All you have to do is have a willingness to teach it. That's all you have to do. I got your program right here. So if you're interested in knowing about the trainer program, and let me tell y'all something else. People ask me, how did I get into the prison? Nobody's going to let you get into the prison and say, I want to get into the prison because I need to talk to them about the psychological impact of incarceration. I got to tell these people how prison affects them. Ain't no warden finna let you come up in there like that. They're not. I'm going to tell you how I got in.
They're not.
Resume made easy.
Resume made easy.
Resume made easy, baby. You tell them you want to teach them about resume, and while you're teaching them about their resume, you just go ahead and navigate that mental health piece up in there. That's how I got in. That's how I got in. I created a program called Resume Made Easy, a 10-week program. Well, I went in there and I taught, and I had 10 volunteers to come in there with me, the dream team.
The dream team.
The dream team. And for about, I think, 4 weeks, we mocked interview. And then Marlon, after that, then the state came and said everybody have to have a resume.
Resume. Everybody have to have a resume.
How was that program?
Yes, for real.
How was that program?
Do you remember even after we took they made us go to have our resumes done at another unit?
Because they had to check a box.
Right.
That y'all had, but was it impactful?
It was impactful. Very. You know how impactful it was.
Not that one.
Oh, there's no.
About.
It was just a check in the box. No. We had no counseling, no nothing, just piece of paper in front of you, sign this, and you're done.
Yeah.
A 1 hour process.
Yeah. And we did 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
And them got everybody left out of there with a professional resume. We worked.
We worked.
We worked. When I go inside, I ain't going in there to play. This is your life. This is your family. I ain't going in there to play with you. And I can honestly say, I saw this gentleman do the work. I saw him do the work. And so for those of you, and this is the thing, y'all, look, y'all heard Marlon's story. Now I'm getting ready. We got a few more minutes, but check this out. If your loved one is in prison and you're not sending them tools to better themselves while they locked up, you're not doing anything for them. Keeping money on their books and all of that, man, look. Send them tools, man. Send them the tools. I just put my website back online. If you go to my website, go to Useful Tools. Click on Useful Tools. And there is so much information. All you have to do is print it out, put it in an envelope, and send it to them. We cannot sit back and wait on the system to rehabilitate our loved ones. That ain't happening.
Ain't happening.
That ain't happening. And again, you know, I don't care if they have 5 years left. Now is the time to do the work. Because when they come out that back gate, they are programmed in conditions to what? Get a job. And I'm telling you, man, let me tell you something. I'm telling you, and you guys are in these relationships with these. One of the best things that I heard a wife say, she says, I have a therapist on my husband's visitation list. And he got a therapist that go to see him once a month. And I'm not saying everybody can't afford that or whatever. But please just don't sit back and wait till he comes home. Coming home. He coming home. Man, let me tell you. I was laying in bed today and I was thinking about the number of sleeping pills, just trying to say how many bottles of sleeping pills that I took, just trying to cope or just trying to stay asleep so I wouldn't think. I wasn't drinking water, y'all. I was taking pills and wine to sleep because of the psychological impact of what was happening with Kevin and how it affected me. It wasn't pretty. And I was laying in bed today and I was thinking about how much weight I had lost. Just laying in bed, melting away. So I'm telling you guys, don't just sit back and wait on him to get home. And one of the things that, one of the questions I always ask, how can I support my loved one? How can I prepare my loved one for my loved one coming home? And I say this with all sincerity. Prepare yourself first. Prepare yourself. Work on you. It's okay to work on you. It's okay. You got to do some type of work. And let me tell you something. When I announced that Kevin and I were getting a divorce, and my thing was this, I had been transparent from the start. When Kevin and I reunited and all that, oh yes, my high school sweetheart. I was on social media telling everybody we got married. Oh, yeah. So my thing was this. If I was going to be transparent from the start, I had to see this thing through. Because one thing I don't want to be labeled as a fake and a fraud. And so when I went on social media and announced that we were getting a divorce. I thought it was only fair, you know? And I announced that we were getting divorced, and I got messages saying, I had your courage because I'm miserable, or I was happiest when he was in prison. Um, and one of the reasons why I could walk away to save myself is because I had been working on myself for years before Kevin and I got married. So that's why I was able to walk away. After Kevin went through therapy, and things were going good. I had my old husband back. I was standing at the window right there. Couldn't wait till he get home. Hey, you know? And we had gotten back to that point while he was in therapy, but he stopped going again. And when he stopped going again, that other person came back, and it seems like he was more so aggressive. And he never hit me, he never laid a hand on me. But I want you guys to understand that psychological abuse, sometimes you might want to say, just hit me. Just go ahead and hit me. And so when he started back again, I was like, I'm not going through that again. And so I decided to get a divorce. And again, I could do that because I was working on Sheila. And I want to encourage you guys to work on yourself. A lot of times uh, we focus on them, like they're the ones with all of the, sorry about that, Marlon, like they're the ones with all of the
You're right.
problems. And we have, just if you be honest with yourself, if you would just be honest with yourself, you're like, you know what, I got some anger issues, or I got some abandonment issues, or I got some trust issues. Whatever your issues are, your known issues are, just work on that. Just work on that now, man. Everybody got to do the work. Can't get around it. But anyway, so we're gonna get. They didn't want to see you. Somebody had a question. But anyway, Marlon, thank you.
No
Thank you.
problem, Miss Bruno. No problem. And like you said, we got to make an appointment. We will get together.
Look at me and talk. You got that phone. Look at.
I'm not having the phone on the computer.
Oh, okay. Now what are you
Yes,
saying?
I said we have to get together and set up another appointment. When you get back from Florida, we're gonna go in the studio and do what we was discussed when I first got out. Okay.
Okay. Okay. We're
And
gonna do.
tell Kevin I'm still waiting to hear from him next
Okay.
time you talk to him.
I would tell him I want to thank you so much. Miss Bruno got mad love for you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
ma'am.
this is the thing, my thing is this. Always pull out the lesson. It's
Right.
in everything. And you know what? While Marlon was in prison, can you briefly tell us about the young man that was getting all the time that you
Oh,
talked to?
in jail. In jail. Yes. Yes, this was a young guy. He was in for murder, and they were offering him 45 to life. And he had this macho attitude, like, man, I can do it. And I said, no, I'm not talking to him. I had a heart to heart. You know, he ended up with 15 years for the murder, because
From
he humbled
45
himself.
to 15?
Yeah, 45 to 15. He humbled himself. He listened. And it's my passion to try and help these youngsters today.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's my passion.
That's what I'm talking
Not
about.
throw their life away. We all make mistakes in life. And
Yeah.
yes, we must atone for those mistakes.
Yeah. But
But but 15, 20, 25 years day for day in a cage is not atonement.
yeah.
That's cruel and unusual punishment,
Yeah.
especially for a child. They say
Yeah.
that we're not fully developed at 15, 16, 17 years old. Then why treat us as such?
Yeah. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about arrested development. We're going to talk about solitary confinement, the effects of solitary confinement. My thing is this: the pain and the punishment that Marlon went through is not a waste, and it's not for naught. So we're going to start working on some things to get him inside the schools, so he can go in there and talk to the children, and also to get him into the juvenile detention centers here, so he can go and share his story. He ain't just do that 40 years for nothing. 40 years, and that 40 years just wasn't for Marlon. And just like what me and Kevin went through, that wasn't just for us. That is for the people that need to hear the story. A lot of time we get these stories and we just hold on to them. I don't want to tell nobody. I'm proud or whatever. You done made it about you. It ain't about you. It's about that person that needs to hear your story. Just think, if I was oh, I don't want to tell anybody. I done told him, we got married and everything is wonderful, whatever. I don't want to tell anybody we're getting a divorce. I don't want to put my book in the story. What if I would have made it about me? Then we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. If I would have made it about me. I know it ain't about me. So you guys, I'm just saying that some of you guys got some stories out there. Y'all done made it about you. It ain't about you. It's about somebody who needs to hear your story so that they can heal.
Exactly.
So anyway, Mr. Branch, I love you. I appreciate you. I'll
Thank
be
you very
talking
much.
to you soon. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in, and those who will go back and watch the replay. It is 2023. We're going to start our monthly lives, and we're just going to be talking about different things. So, and those who want to share their stories with me so that I can take those stories with me when I go to do this workshop, share your stories with me, and I'm gonna package them up, and I'm gonna take them with me. Okay, until next time, we love you. God bless you, and we'll see y'all later. Bye bye.
All right.
See y'all later. Bye bye. All right. See y'all later.